board budget workshop to order at 5:36 p.m. Ms. Barat-Timms, was the meeting properly posted?
Yes, it was.
And do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
With that, we will invite the presenters, Bridget Clark, Matt Bollinger, Leanna Dixon, Brooke Dockery. Come on up.
All right, good evening, President Guy, trustees, Dr. O'Brien. Tonight marks the third budget workshop this year. So we have been busy, doing lots of reductions and planning for this budget. It has been challenging, but the teamwork has been exceptional. So I want to thank the team right off the bat for working so hard. It's been difficult. But this evening we are going to talk about the budget process. The lion's share of the presentation is going to be talking about the particulars of the compensation package. And then we'll talk about the overall budget summary and how it all factors in. And with that, let me go ahead and talk about the budget process. So last time administration brought before you $25 million in budget deficit reduction options, and the board approved tiers 1 and 3. On April 1st, and we are hopeful that the board would consider and approve the compensation plan on the 20th, which is our next board meeting, and then we'll adopt all 3 budgets, debt service, food service, and general fund service on the 17th. And with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Bollinger for compensation.
Okay, good evening. So we're going to go through the compensation report that we received from TASB and also provide some options and proposals for the board to consider. And so just as an introduction, just as in previous years, we have engaged in a TASB report to give us a good idea of our pay structure and how we compare to districts in our surrounding areas. And so we'll provide that information to you tonight. Also, the report shares recommendations on 3 models. And so we're going to share 3 pay increase models for you. And as well as we'll see market comparisons for certain job categories to see if we're in line and competitive for each category across the board, and if not, some adjustments that may be recommended to get us more in line with our neighboring districts. So just as a visual here, these are the 21 school districts that TASB utilizes with Goose Creek just to compare our pay structure and our salaries. And so you can see that this is sorted here by alpha, and also it shows just various data for each school district, including student enrollment and how many full-time staff we have. Okay, as a reminder from last year, the district did not adopt a pay increase for this school year. Instead, a one-time payment was approved. Teachers received $1,300 in that one-time payment. So we'll reference that throughout the presentation. And also, there was an equity adjustment made for teachers with more experience, years 5 through 23. So you may have remembered that our pay dropped off from the median last year in our more veteran teachers, and so an adjustment was made to try to close that gap. And so we'll show what that looks like. On the right side, these are some of the stipends that we offer as a district. One consideration that we are looking at is increasing our stipend for high need areas and special education, and also in bilingual. We're having a very difficult time attracting teachers in those areas, as are most other districts. And so we're looking at maybe making a small recommendation or an adjustment with those stipends. Okay, so for this chart, starting off, this is our salary schedule compared to the 21 districts that we're compared to. So I want to spend a little bit of time on this. The orange line shows, and this is sorted for starting salaries. Teacher starting salaries is how the chart is sorted. And so you can see from high to low, Barbers Hill is the highest in the category. Fort Bend is the lowest. And so a couple of points to make on this chart. First of all, the range, especially with starting salaries, is a very tight range. And so if you notice from 65,000 down to 59.5, that's not a huge spread overall. And so we're very relatively competitive in our area. Also, if you look at our pay structure and really our group's pay structure compared to other areas in the state of Texas, we pay extremely well compared to other areas. And so we're in an area where some of the highest paid teachers in the state are in this area. And so we're having to compete with that. Last year, our pay structure, not including the one-time payment, placed us in, once everyone else added their raises as well and their compensation, placed us in 13 out of the 21 school districts at 61,250. And so this, I'm using my arrow here, but this is our starting salary. What that means is that we were 99% of the comparison to the median. So we were $750 from the median. This shows our ranking. You'll also notice that as we jump every 5 years, that we fall a little bit further from that median. When you look at year 15, especially year 20, we're 98% of the median, so not terrible, but that dollar amount is noticeable. And so some of the recommendations for equity adjustments are going to address us falling from that median. We'll also explain, if we made equity adjustments with our veteran teachers, why are we still off in those years compared to our starting salary or our 5-year salary. And so we'll provide an explanation for that. So that's the orange line, not including the one-time payment. So because it wasn't a 2% raise wrapped into our salary structure, we're back where we were before. However, if you do include what our teachers actually received with that one-time payment that was equivalent to a 2% raise, then that actually placed us in ninth place, right below Alvin ISD, right above Pasadena ISD. And so there's a pretty big gap there, and that again accounts for what our teachers actually received. Okay. This next chart is busy. We want to spend a little bit of time on this because of how we did the pay structure last year and the compensation last year. We want to make sure that we're clearly articulating where we're at right now, and so you can consider possible pay increases for next year. And so there's 4 lines on the graph. The first line is last year's pay. And so the green line is last year's pay. And so you can see where we're at all the way up the chart. And this is for teacher pay, of course. And then the orange line is this year's pay without that one-time payment. And so the reason why we're showing this is because the one-time payment wasn't factored into an ongoing raise, but you do see the equity adjustments that were included. So you see when we get to year 10, we're slightly above the median, not the median, slightly above last year's pay. Year 15, you can see more of a gap here than also year 20. You can see that equity adjustment bumped it up a little bit for those year salary. The blue line is the median for this year after raises were considered for our comparison group. So we don't know what will happen with that median for next year. If school districts decide to give a large raise, and that median will go up. If they decide this year is a tough year, which it is for many districts, they may give a very small raise or no raise. That median may not move a lot. And so we're in the same boat as every other district with that median. But that blue line is the median for this year. And then the purple line shows what our teachers actually received. So it's that one-time payment. And so our starting salary was, again, $62,550 with that one-time payment. And you can see that we're slightly above the median in every category, except in year 20, we dip a little bit below that median. Okay? So because of the raises that were provided from other districts, it still created a gap that made our 15-year and our 20-year salary a little bit more parallel or comparable to the younger years. And so some of the equity adjustments that are going to be recommended are going to try to adjust even further those years to try to close that gap a little bit more so that it's a parallel line with the median. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, this slide here is a market comparison to our other job categories. And so I think the reason why we're showing this is just to give you an idea of this middle column here, this pay grade midpoint to market shows compared to our other districts, how does our pay structure compare? And so if it's at 100% or above, that means that our pay structure, so our minimum, our midpoint, and our maximum pay are in line with other districts. If it's over 100%, we're above the median, compared to the market. And so you can see with central admin, with campus admin, with professional, we fall into that category. With technology, we're a little bit low here. What's also important to note, that was on a previous slide, is that for some of these job categories, just due to the nature of the job, we're not compared just to school districts. And so sometimes the TASB study will pull from the private sector to compare. And when they do that, that typically dips our median a little bit more, because in certain areas, the private sector tends to pay more than public schools. Technology is a good example of that. And so all the way down the line, you can see where we fall with our pay structure. The takeaway that from TASB and our takeaway is that our pay structure overall is very healthy, that we have a healthy pay structure. What you'll also notice is this first column shows what we actually pay. And so notice that it's a little bit lower than the actual comparable midpoint to the market. And so why would this be lower? One reason is because we're hiring individuals with less years of experience, or they're new to the district. And so that could be a reason why it's a little bit lower than our pay structure. So if you go through here, you can see that there's several areas that we may need to look at or to adjust that TASB recommends. You will see with the manual trades that our pay is quite a bit lower, and so that's one area that TASB recommends we adjust with the pay structure and with the compensation. And so when we show the three models, we'll talk a little bit about manual trades in that first model.
Dr. Bollinger,
yes.
When you're looking at benchmarks, are we looking at people, positions, or companies there? What is a benchmark?
Yeah, those are different positions that are compared. And so those are the different positions. And again, a good example is like, why is technology so low here? Why are there only 3 positions?
That was going to be my question.
Yeah, and so when we talked about that this morning, and it's because when they compare to the private sectors, there's not that many technology jobs, and so they pulled from 3 benchmarks to look at comparisons, and that's how they did that. For more educational-based jobs, there's more positions to look at.
So internally, we're looking at 3 technology positions, not necessarily 3 people.
That's correct. Yeah, 3 types of positions.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
So TASB provided 3 recommendations, and so we want to share those recommendations and then look at them in detail. The first recommendation is to adopt the proposed pay structure adjustments, making sure that if there is a job category that is noticeably below the median, that we make those adjustments to make it more competitive. And so, for example, manual trades will be the most obvious here in the 3 models that we show, where they're recommending pay adjustments to make sure that it's more competitive. Also, TASB looks at our turnover rates for certain positions, and these tend to be very high turnover rates compared to other positions. And so is there anything we can do salary-wise to help with retention and to help with attracting top talent? The second recommendation is to adopt one of the 3 proposed increased pay structures with the raises that are proposed. And so we're going to show you a 2% model, what that would look like, a 3% model, and then a 4% pay raise model as well, to see the differences between the 3. The third recommendation is to make further adjustments for teachers that have years of experience, years 8 through 25, to be more competitive in that category. And so TASB is recommending another equity adjustment in those areas to help close that gap. And so we're going to show that dollar amount for all 3 models and what that looks like. Okay, so we'll spend the most time on this first model out of the 3, and then the other 2 will make more sense because it's really the same thing, just different numbers, different percentages. And so for Model 1 is a 2% pay increase, and what you'll notice here is that for Model 1, the starting salary for a 2% pay increase would be $62,200. That would be the starting salary, and the general pay increase would fall at $1,350. So teachers would receive a $1,350 pay increase for 2%. When this study was completed, we had 1,689 full-time teachers, and so the cost increase for that 2% increase would be $2.67 million. That would be the increase. What you'll also notice is within that dollar amount, the adjustments for years 8 through 25, that would hit 875 teachers, and so that total amount would be close to $400,000 to make those equity adjustments years 8 through 25. And so that's how you get that 2.67 is you add the 2% increase plus the equity adjustment. 2% for administration and professional would be $881,000. For clerical paraprofessional, it would be a little bit over $500,000. For manual trades, it would be $950,000. If you notice, with manual trades, the 2% increase is $559,000, but with the equity adjustments that were recommended to make us more competitive, especially with the lower paying positions, that it was noticed that we were below market. To get us closer to market midpoint, that cost here is a little bit over $300,000. So that's that adjustment for certain positions.
How close is that going to get us?
What do you mean?
Well, are we going to be 95% now instead of 90, or that's coming up? Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if we do actually answer how close it gets to the median, because I think it depends on where that median falls for this year.
Oh, sure.
But the goal is to get it as close to 100% as possible. So the total pay increase for the 2% raise is a little bit over $4 million, and then with those adjustments that were included throughout this package would be close to $1 million. It's at $994,000, and so a 2% increase with the equity adjustments would fall at right above $5 million, and so that would be the cost for a 2% increase. The pay structure and the salary scale for teachers with a 2% raise would look like this chart here. And so starting salary would be $62,200, and then you can go all the way down the list, years 30, 31, or at a little bit above $76,000. And so that's what a 2% model would look like.
Go back to page 11. Maybe I'm looking wrong. At the bottom it says 2.6%.
Yes.
So it's not a 2.0, isn't it?
Good catch. So the 2% pay increase is the $4 million right here. I don't know if you can see my mouse. So if it was strictly 2%, it would be $4 million. TASB's also making these equity adjustments to catch us up in pockets of job categories like manual trades, which would be the largest one. And so if you add up all of those adjustments, also with our teachers years 8 through 25, that would bump it above 2%. If you add up all of those equity adjustments, that is a 0.5% increase as well. So the 2.1 plus the 5% gives us 2.6. And so the 2% raise, at a minimum, everyone would receive a 2% raise. And then if you fall in one of those categories where there needs to be an adjustment to get you closer to that median, then you would receive that 2% plus a little bit more. So if you're a teacher with 15 years experience, you're going to get that 2% raise, and then you're going to get that equity adjustment, which bumps it a little bit more than 2%. Okay, so the next two models are more percentage increase, pretty much the same idea. So we just want to point out a few things here. 3% pay increase for teachers. The starting salary would be $62,850. So again, if you go back to 2%, it was $62,200. 3% is $62,850. This would equate to a $2,000 pay increase for teachers. Same number of full-time staff. So you can see the amount here is $3.76 million. That also includes that equity adjustment that we talked about earlier, years 8 through 25. Okay, so the 3% raises here plus that 0.4% would account for that equity adjustment to get us closer to the median for those teachers that have more years of service. Administrative professional, 1.234. Paraprofessionals is 700,000. Manual trades is 1.1 million. One thing I do want to point out, if you notice the adjustment for manual trades, it actually went down on the 3% model. So on the 2% model, it's a little over $300,000. On the 3% model, it's $240. So it dropped about $60,000, $70,000. So the question is, why is that? And the answer is because with that 3% raise increase, what that does is that catches some positions up, getting them closer to the median. So that 3% sort of takes care of that adjustment for several positions. So we don't have to adjust for as many. Okay, so the 3% raise would be $5.9 million plus the equity adjustments at $800,000, a little over $800,000, which is a little bit less than the 2% model. So the total is $6.8 million for a 3% raise. So if you're looking at the bottom line right now, a 2% increase would be $5 million with all of the adjustments included. A 3% would be 6.8, so 1.8 million more, okay, for a 3% raise. Here's the salary structure, or the salary scale, rather, for a 3% increase, starting at $62,850 for starting teachers, all the way down to almost $77,000 for teachers with 30 more years of experience. Okay, 4% raise model. This is the last model, Model 3. So let's go through the numbers real quick. I think we're familiar with the chart now. Starting salary would be $63,500. Okay, so if you remember, 2% $62,200, 3% $62,800, and some change. And so this is $63,500. The pay increase would be $2,650. A 3% increase would be $2,000. A 4% increase would be $2,650. And so the cost with the equity adjustment for experienced teachers is $4.8 million. For administration and professional, it'd be $1.58. For clerical and paraprofessional, it would be close to $1 million. It'd be $900,000. And then for manual trades, it would be at $1.2 million. Same concept. If you'll notice, this equity adjustment's down to $145 from $241, so a pretty significant drop. And again, that's because that 4% increase catches some of those positions up to where they need to be, closer to the median. The 4% increase would be at $7.9 million, plus the equity adjustments equals 8.6. So again, just to belabor the point real quick, a 2% pay increase with all the equity adjustments would cost the district $5 million more dollars than what we're paying now, and some change, according to this estimate. 3% would be $6.8 million more dollars, and then 4% would be $8.6 million in addition to what we already pay. And then here's the salary scale for a 4% increase for teachers. And so it shows that the starting salary would be at $63,500 down to $77,400 for teachers with more than 30 years experience. So that just shows you the range there. Okay, now what Ms. Clark's going to do is put all this together and show what the packages would look like to the overall budget.
Before we move away from this, do we have any noise on what our competitive market is doing as far as raises?
I actually have a sheet.
Google doesn't know.
I have it.
And we have a few that I can go ahead and read off.
That's okay. It's early in the game.
It is. Some districts haven't announced. Some have. Galena Park has announced, and we probably have duplicate information, 2% increase. Sheldon's announced a 3.5% increase. New Caney is a 2.5% increase. And then I'll let Bridget read off a few more.
I don't know if you said Galena Park, but they're doing 2%. Hempstead, 5%. Huffman, no increase. Pasadena, no increase. And Fort Bend, no increase.
Okay. That's pretty significant. The reason I'm asking is we need to have a little foresight maybe because we're playing catch up, and if we don't know what everybody else is doing, our catch up may just be to stay where we are. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward.
Right.
Thank you.
We have that Sheldon had a 3.5% increase, and then New Caney had a 2.5% increase.
The average that's been announced across the state right now is around 3. That seems to be a common number outside of our market.
Yeah, that's what Mr. Hobbs from TASB said. It's coming around 2%, 3%. 2% is the norm, though. All right, so now we'll talk about how this all flows into the overall budget. But first, we'll have a quick review of what the board approved last time in tiers 1 and 3. You all approved $25.2 million in budget deficit reductions. Tier 1 reductions, 13.4, and Tier 3, 11.7. The main driver of the budget, of course, is ADA. That's our #1 revenue generator. Ourselves, just like districts across the state, have experienced some declines in enrollment due to multiple factors. Some of the urban districts especially have been affected by charter schools. We have had probably a mixed bag of reasons why we've lost a few, but you can see here with the orange line, that's total enrollment, and it went from 24,431 last year to 24,108. And then the yellow line there, you can see the ADA didn't decrease as much. It's more flat, but it went from 21,981 to 21,908. So definitely didn't lose as much ADA as we did overall enrollment. I did read statistics that from 2019 to 2020, the birth rate dropped 4%. 2020 was one of the lowest birth rates years. And yeah, I was surprised by that. Yeah. But yeah. So there was some of that. And then, of course, if we have pre-Kers that were never enrolled in our district and they went straight to another school district or charter or online or whatever, we wouldn't be able to trace that because they never were registered with us. So, but that's a normal trend with ADA and enrollment right now that public ed is experiencing. All right, so how do these budget models pan out in the overall budget? So I've just got each 2%, 3%, and 4% raises. I've got them side by side here so you can see the differences in what they do to the bottom line. The 2% raise, and we are projecting flat revenues just because of the trend and to be conservative. You can see we're projecting $252.7 million in revenue, and then, of course, the trend.
Hang on, you said something really quickly. This is based on flat what? Flat what?
Flat ADA.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank
Talking too
you.
fast. Yes. So we're just projecting flat, no growth. Then we've got the transfer in from the Tier 3 Capital Improvement Projects Fund. That's that 11.7. And then our estimated payroll is, which includes the reductions, non-payroll, is 46.8 million. And all these numbers are carried across because they're all the same in each example. And then the estimated payroll expenditures, and again, this includes the reductions. It's 210.7 million. And then each general pay increase, 2%, 3%, and 4%. You can see the amounts there, 5 million, 6.8, and 8.6. Which would result in a surplus under the 2% raise model of 1.7 million, balanced budget under the 3% model, and then under the 4%, we would have a deficit of 1.8.
This is the side-by-side that I was referencing that would show you how they compare.
Yeah. All right. Can we stop there for a minute?
Sure.
And I know you guys, and I mean that all inclusively, everybody in the room plus everybody in the district have been just working yourself to death to balance this budget. We appreciate that. But at our previous workshop, without any pay raise, we were $3 million deficit, which was essentially on us because we said no to Tier 2. But it looks like you found that $3 million plus a couple of more million in the last few weeks. So can you explain that just briefly?
Yes, we have further refined our revenue numbers. Because of the interest rates being so high, we have experienced more investment income than what we would have normally. And, and when we worked out all the reductions, when we actually sat down and executed them and scrubbed the numbers, it came up more favorably.
So we gained some income and we had better reductions than we even thought. Because at a 3% raise, we're even, and that's pretty incredible.
Right. It was hard won, trust me, but yeah.
I'm speaking solely for myself, but I was sitting comfortable a few weeks ago saying we're going to have to adopt a $3 million deficit budget, and I'm going to be okay with that because it's not $23 million.
Right.
And I can be okay with adopting a $1.8 million deficit and really do some good for our employees. But that's just me. But thank you for allowing me that time.
Yes, sir. And that's, why we have this up here for you all to give us guidance on that. So we're pleased to present, a reduced deficit in the models that we're presenting tonight. Fund balance, we're estimating that to be around $104 million. Of course, we're not to the end of the year yet, but that's projected, which puts us well within our 3 months operating cost requirement by board policy CE local. So we have cushion there. Of course, we want to keep that cushion because we don't want to predict what could happen, but certainly the folks to our north are experiencing some of that, what they're going to have to be using their fund balance savings for disasters. So we always have to keep that in mind because you just never know. All right, so what would this look like in future years if we were, and this only has the illustration for 3%. You can add the 1.8 to the deficit, if you wanted to consider the 4% raise. But for illustrative purposes only, the 24-25 column, you can just see there, that's just the balanced budget that we're proposing for 3% raises. And then in scenario 1 for 25-26, when we're back here next year, you could see the 217 is what payroll expenditures increases to because it's the 6.8 raise for the 3% plus the 210, 782. So that brings payroll expenditures next year to 217.5. And then if you look at the Chapter 313 revenue, we're predicting around $4 million. Again, that's not 100% guaranteed until it actually happens. And certainly foreign trade zone is very unpredictable. It can be zero. I mean, I've seen it be zero at other years in other districts. So very difficult to predict. So I just did a conservative estimate here. And you can see then if the 2025 legislature finds it in their hearts to increase basic allotment by $350 per student, that would give us another 7.7, and we would have a little bit of surplus there for that scenario 1. But then in scenario 2, it's the same scenario, but no increase in public education funding, which would put us at a $7.2 million deficit. And that is, both of those scenarios 1 and 2 are without raises. So you can see how quickly the pendulum can swing just based on legislative inaction.
It's carrying the 3% right now that we're talking about for this scene. It's carrying that through 2 years, the next biennium.
Carrying the 3% raise? Yeah.
Right.
Yes, this scenario does have this 3% would be permanent.
Okay.
And so, yeah. But in scenarios 1 and 2, there would be no raise considered with those models. So, yeah, future 25, 26. So when we sit down at the table next year to figure out the budget, that is what we would be contending with without basic allotment increase.
And Part of that is because we utilize Tier 1 and Tier 2 this year at the board's direction. Tier 3 will not be available.
It was actually Tier 2 that we didn't adopt. It's Tier 1 and Tier 3 that we adopted, but
Correct.
yes, sir.
But next year, Tier 3 will not be available as much
Right.
so the following year.
That's why there's smaller numbers.
Right. It's just reduced, yeah, because we won't get as much next year. But
Are we fairly confident on the 313 number, more so than the foreign trade zone?
yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry, I was referencing, I see it right there now.
Yeah.
I was referencing this year's Tier 3
Oh, okay.
number would not be accessible next
Right.
year. This is next year's Tier 3.
Yes, sir. All right. So with that, I'll open up to any more questions, or we can go over the budget calendar on the 20th. As we mentioned, we would like to, for recruiting purposes, move the compensation plan approval, if possible, up to that date. If you all are comfortable and have decided upon, which scenario or which model you would like to adopt, we can certainly bring that back for you for approval on May 20th, just because we would like to use the raise announcement as a recruiting tool.
So you're asking guidance right now?
Yes, sir.
All right, I've stated my opinion.
I'd be comfortable with the date.
I'm for 4%.
I'd be comfortable with the date moving it up.
I'm in agreement as well with your dates. Looks like a great timeline. Thank you.
Yeah, 4 out of 7
I'm
are shaking their head
comfortable
yes to the
also.
date, so.
So I'm correct in
Yeah.
assumption that it's 4% to bring back as a recommendation. Is that correct? Okay.
Please.
All right. Any further questions?
And nobody change your mind. Well, you've got till the 20th. I think in a minute when we see the benefits package and ask some questions about that, the 4% may be helpful. Needed. Yeah, needed's a good word.
And that's a presentation coming up here.
Yeah.
in a little bit. Go ahead.
All right.
All right, how are we doing next workshop? We've got 10,000 things at the next board meeting.
The next
20th.
workshop is a superintendent's report only.
So it'll be during the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just a superintendent's report. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Could we go over the income revenue a little more at that next presentation?
Sure.
Just a little more in depth?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Taxable values, things of that
Yeah,
nature.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll go over taxable values. Yes.
Okay, we will take a short recess before we start the regular meeting at 6:30. Hey, we will call this regular meeting of the GCCISD Board of Trustees to order. It is 6:30 p.m. Mrs. Barat-Timms, was the meeting properly posted?
Yes, it was.
And do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Guy, school board members, Dr. O'Brien. The opening exercises for the May 6th, 2024 board meeting will be presented by students from Baytown Junior. We will begin the opening ceremonies with a prayer led by Tiffany Guy. Everyone, please rise.
Lord, thank you for getting everyone here safely tonight, and thank you for the many blessings you've provided each of us. Please guide our decision-making tonight as we make decisions that will impact the students in our district and the entire community. Please bless the students, staff, and families in our district as we wrap up another school year. And finally, please get us all home safely after the meeting. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Our pledges will be led by Baytown Junior students Shanice Singh and Giselle Aguilar.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. You may be seated. The following students will perform Antiphonal Kyrie and Gaudiamus Hodie: Giselle Aguilar, Alexis Colon, Annalie Dixon, Sherlyn James, and Shanice Singh. These students are under the direction of music teacher Deborah Silverberg and principal Judy Mackion.
I don't know. I like it.
Great job to our
you.
Baytown Junior students.
Do we have any parents or family in the audience? If you'll stand for us so we can recognize you. Thank you for sharing your kiddos with us.
Go Goslings.
All right, to start off our recognitions and acknowledgments tonight, please welcome Anna Espinosa, Director of the Goose Creek Education Foundation.
Good evening, President Guy, Dr. O'Brien, board members, and everyone in attendance tonight. On behalf of the Goose Creek CISD Education Foundation, I would like to announce this donation to Goose Creek CISD in the amount of $187,930.76. This will fund 55 innovative teaching grants. At this time, I would like to ask any of our Education Foundation Board of Directors who are in attendance if you will please join us for a photo.
Board members, thank you for your hard work. We appreciate the work that you do as a foundation to support our teachers through those innovative teaching grants. We certainly do appreciate the hard work y'all put in as citizens that live in our community and volunteer without pay to serve on this board. We thank you very much.
All right, we are very excited to recognize some of the giant talent we have in Goose Creek. We're going to begin with Sarah Flushy, Associate Director of English Language Arts and Librarians, and she will start off with recognitions in writing.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to pause today and honor some of the district's most accomplished writers. Every year, Goose Creek students are invited to participate in multiple writing competitions. And this evening, we will recognize winners of the ExxonMobil Scholastic Writing and Do the Right Thing essay contests. First, we will honor the ExxonMobil essay contest winners. Representing ExxonMobil, we are grateful to have with us tonight Mr. Xavier Kent, who will read the names of the winners. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Kent.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. If you haven't met me, my name is Xavier Kent. I'm a Public and Government Affairs Advisor for ExxonMobil Baytown. It's truly an honor to be here, and we want to say a huge thank you to the Goose Creek Consolidated Independent School District, Delina Kelly, and Sarah Flush for allowing ExxonMobil to partner with you all for this year's essay contest. It was really, really a treat. ExxonMobil is a really strong partner of education and STEM initiatives just like this, and we really hope to spark these students' interest in STEM careers and in the oil and gas industry, and ultimately demonstrate the positive impact that our industry makes in our society and everyday lives. Before we get into the awards, let me get into just a little background on the contest. So the essay contest was open to all junior and senior students at Lee High School, Sterling High School, Goose Creek Memorial High School, and Impact Early High School. Students were allowed to submit one 500-word essay. Top applicants were selected and sent to ExxonMobil, where we had a team of employees score and rank the essays. And I had a chance to look at a few of them, and let me say, it was very difficult to narrow it down, and it really shows the exceptional students that are here in Goose Creek. So we could just give all of the students that participated a big round of applause. Students were prompted to write an essay about one of two topics: research various energy solutions and share why all are important to a lower emission future, and why access to energy is important to support modern life. Now we'll get into the introduction of the winners. I will call the two winners for each school, and after I call each winner up, I believe they're going to take pictures, and then we would like everyone to line up in the front so that we can take a group photo, and we'll hand everyone their certificates as well as their prizes. So without further ado, let's go with the introductions. I'm going to start off with Goose Creek Memorial High School. As the runner-up, who will be receiving a $100 Visa gift card, Ariana Maxey. Yes, that's her. Okay, go. Okay, sorry. And first place from Goose Creek Memorial High School, who will be receiving Beats AirPods, is Trinity Daniels. Now to Robert E. Lee High School. Thank you. Second gift card. First one, yeah. Thank you. In second place, who will be receiving a $100 Visa gift card, Andrea Lopez. Thank you. And first place from Robert E. Lee High School, Kania Pena. Hope I said that right. Sorry about that. Next, we'll do Impact Early College High School. In second place, Stephanie Torres. And in first place from Impact Early College High School, Elias Perry. Now to Sterling High School. In second place, we have Sebastian Kingston. And in first place for Sterling High School, we have Jalen Sherman. Just want to say thank you once again to Goose Creek ISD for their partnership with ExxonMobil in this initiative and allowing me to come here to present these wonderful students with these awards. And congratulations to them. They all have such bright futures. So thank you all so much.
Thank you again to our partner in education, ExxonMobil, for making this writing opportunity possible for these incredible students. Next, we will recognize winners of the Scholastic Writing and Do the Right Thing Essay Contest. Reading the names of contest winners will be Delana Kelly. Ms. Kelly is a district instructional specialist and has overseen this year's implementation for each of these contests. From promoting, facilitating, auditing, and more, Delana has worked tirelessly to bring these opportunities to Goose Creek students and teachers. Please join me in thanking her for the many hours of work she has devoted to our student writers.
Thank you. Now we will recognize winners of the Scholastic Writing Contest. This contest is an opportunity for students to write for a variety of reasons, competing against their peers from across the region and state. All students recognized today received either a gold or a silver key for their writing. Gold key winners have now advanced to the national level of competition for Scholastic Writing, where the highest ranked winners will be invited to an award ceremony at Carnegie Hall in New York. From Impact Early College High School, we have Karis Gray, who received a gold key. Karis's teacher is Kristen Olin, and her principal is Laura Reyes. From Rossett Sterling High School, we have Louis Bargon, who received a gold key. Luis's teacher is Elizabeth Sindor, and principal is Nathan Chaddick. Also from Rossett Sterling High School, we have Carly Esquivel, who received a silver key. Carly's teacher is Holly Yarbrough, and her principal is Nathan Chaddick. From Baytown Junior School, we have Yassine Oardi, who received a gold key. Yassine's teacher is Akila Callaghan, and the principal, Judy Mackion. that's all of our Scholastic winners. Finally, we will recognize winners of the Do the Right Thing essay contest. This academic and anti-violence program provides students with the relational tools necessary to combat violence in their lives. From E.F. Green Junior School, we have Mahi Singh. Mahi's teacher is Austin Lindsay and principal is Alicia Babin. Also from E.F. Green Junior School, we have Matthew Tyler. Matthew's teacher also is Austin Lindsay with principal Alicia Babin. Ms. Singh and Mr. Tyler's essays were chosen from among thousands of entries from students in Harris County. They will both now advance to the national level of the competition. Thank you again for this time this evening. Please join me in a final round of applause for all of these amazing young writers.
All right, next, Angela Cornelius, Associate Director of Mathematics, will help us recognize students winning awards in the Math Counts competition.
As I call their name, they. Good evening, everyone. Approximately 40 Goose Creek students participated this year in the chapter Math Counts competition. The mission of Math Counts is to increase enthusiasm and enhance achievement in middle school math through the United States. When we surveyed our Math Counts students, 87% of our Math Counts students stated that their confidence in their STEM ability improved because of their participation in Math Counts. It is our mission in Goose Creek to grow giants. And because of the Math Counts, these students are on their way to becoming giant mathematicians. For the second year in a row, the Math Count team from E.F. Green placed second in the chapter competition and representing Goose Creek in the state competition in Irving, Texas. We would like to honor the following students for their participation in the state competition, led by their wonderful coach, Ms. Jeanette Cruz. Please welcome Anay Gupta. Sadvi Kura. Alexander Romeo. While Alexander is on his way up, I just wanted to mention as well, he has special recognition for scoring in the top 25% of the state of Texas for math counts. And rounding out this amazing team, Ananya Sood. Congratulations to our team.
All right, our Director of Fine Arts, Ray Levan, will present award winners in fine arts.
Good evening, Dr. O'Brien, Board of Trustees. It's a pleasure to be with you again today. The following GCCISD students have been recognized at the State Visual Arts and Scholastic event. These students were recognized out of 31,000 regional entries from around the state of Texas. They are from Lee High School, accompanied by her teacher, Miss Melissa Rangel. We have Miss Wisdom Jordan. Also, from Lee High School, we have Miss Allie Jones. Yeah. A note about Wisdom, she is in the 10th grade and she is qualified for a state both years. Moving on to Ross S. Sterling, first accompanied by their teacher, Miss Darcy McDonald, we have Abigail Garza, Maddie Dotson, Jamie Martinez, and Jaylene Mondragon. And Jaylene actually had 2 qualifying pieces for state this year as a 9th grader. Also from Ross S. Sterling High School, accompanied by their teacher, Miss Annie Watson, we have Miss Jocelyn Enciso. Right. Also from Roxas Sterling High School, accompanied by their teacher, Miss Brandy Barriga, we have Brianna Galvan. Moving on to Goose Creek Memorial High School, accompanied by the teacher, Miss Brandy Aguilar, we have Miss Cadence Moreno and Miss Carolina Coronado. All right, and last but certainly not least, accompanied by John Amoros, we have the Gennaro Silva. Gennaro should look extremely familiar because he was one of our rodeo art winners. His artwork has received a great acclaim, and pretty much to sum up his high school career, he's won everything. How about another hand for these great fine art students?
All right, next we have Dr. Sandy Conklin, our Executive Director, who will recognize staff members who've completed the Principal Residency Program in Goose Creek.
Yep, I got him. All right, good afternoon, Dr. O'Brien, Mrs. Guy, board members. In the fall of 2022, we applied for the TEA Principal Residency Grant. The grant sought to provide LEAs with an opportunity to increase the number of well-prepared, diverse instructional leaders by providing a comprehensive year-long residency as assistant principals. During that time, participants would also be completing their master's program in educational management with principal certification at the University of Houston of Clear Lake. After an application process that included submission of responses to several questions regarding district practices and an interview process, we were one of 18 school districts across the state that was awarded the grant. Selection into the principal residency program was a rigorous process that ensured the most dedicated and capable individuals were chosen to participate. Approximately 45 prospective residents underwent a thorough application process that included submission of essays, group and individual interviews, as well as receiving favorable recommendations from 3 colleagues, including their most recent supervisor. Of those 45, 8 were selected to participate in the program. The next task was to pair them with an exceptional principal as their mentor. This was a crucial decision that involved careful consideration. Principals were selected because they possess the experience, expertise, and commitment to mentorship. They are highly regarded for their leadership skills, instructional knowledge, and ability to cultivate talent in others. Additionally, the University of Houston Clear Lake was selected as our partner because of their outstanding reputation for educational excellence in higher education. The residency afforded our participants the opportunity to gain experience in areas such as instructional leadership, school management and operations, employee relations, community engagement, school improvement, and leadership skills. This program allows our school district to invest in the development of promising talent, fostering a culture of growth, innovation, and excellence within our educational community. The dedication and commitment demonstrated by these principal residents and their mentors serve as a testament to their passion for education and unwavering desire to make a positive impact on the lives of our students. Please allow me to recognize the following. Resident Molly Johnson and her mentor Erica Smith. Resident Tina Pequeno and Ms. Talise Onawan. Resident Abby Lemus and her mentor, Dr. Carrie Lonius. Resident Nancy Tejeda and her mentor, Leah Abbott. I'll print you one later, Miss Abbott. We can get you a certificate if you'd like. Resident Sylvia Hernandez and her mentor, Monica Juarez. And she was lucky she had two mentors because Miss Abbott also mentored her. So if you step up there for a picture. Resident Tara Fountain and her mentor, Kelly Start. Resident Michelle Salmons and her mentor, Mr. Jalen Kennedy. Resident Marlene Ocha and her mentor, Ernest Brooks. I would also like to recognize the following faculty from the University of Houston-Clear Lake who were instrumental in the design of the master's program and for their support that they provided to all of our residents to ensure their success. Dr. Joan Pedro, Dean of College of Education and Professor. Come on up to the front, please. Dr. Michelle Peters, Department Chair and Professor. And Dr. Jennifer Grace, Program Director and Assistant Professor.
All right, this concludes the recognitions and acknowledgements portion of our board meeting. Congratulations to all of our giant award-winning students and staff.
Now you know why we call this celebration night. I believe next up we have Ms. Ginger McKay, who will be presenting a public hearing. It is a required public comment opportunity for the 24-25 federal grant program, Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, and Carl D. Perkins v. Federal Program Funds. Ms. McKay?
Good evening, President Guy, Superintendent O'Brien, and members of the board.
We see it on our screen, but
Okay,
it's not
so
on the
yeah,
wall
not
yet.
on the...
He's working on it. There we go.
Great. This is our, every year we have this public opinion opportunity, so I'm going to kind of go through the slides. If you have questions, we'll be sure and answer those at the end. So this is required each year for our federal funds. Whoa. Students and parents and school district staff, as well as business and community members, have an opportunity to express their opinion regarding our implementation of our federal program grants. Okay, so the first one we'll look at is ESSA. Yeah, it usually just has to be that enter and I'm fine. Now okay, there we go. All right. The Title I funds are basically for improving our basic programs, and those are to provide supplemental resources to help our schools with high concentrations of students from low-income families and provide high-quality educational services. Title I is our migrant education program. These special funds are to provide supplemental instructional and support services for our migrant students and their families, as well as to conduct our identification and recruitment, data collection, records transfer, as well as many other things that we have to as required by law. Our Title II is to build systems of support so that we have excellent teaching and leading, which means our administrators are included in this particular part of the ESSA grant. These funds provide for the improvement of teacher and principal quality and increasing the number of highly qualified teachers in classrooms, as well as having highly qualified principals and assistant principals in our schools. Title III is for our English language acquisition students that are identified in the district. These funds provide supplemental resources to help ensure that children who are English language learners attain English proficiency at high levels in our core academic subjects. And the last part of our ESSA grant is Title IV, which is our student support and academic enrichment grants. These funds provide supplemental resources to support a well-rounded education, safe and healthy students, as well as implementing effective use of technology. Now then we turn to our IDEA, which is our special education. IDEA Part B is to provide funds to supplement our resources that we have in the district to help identify district students for special education services and provide those services for children ages 3 to 21 years of age. We also have IDEA Part C, which provides supplemental resources to help the district identify students for special education and provide services for children that are ages 0 to 36 months. And the other part of IDEA is our deaf education component, which is to provide service and support for our district-identified students in special ed who are either identified as deaf or hard of hearing. Our last federal programs that we also have to have a moment to discuss is Carl D. Perkins. And the purpose of the Career and Technical CTE program is to develop more fully the academic knowledge, technical, and employability skills of secondary education students who enroll in CTE programs and programs of study. And these have lots of federal requirements for the Perkins grant. It's to provide career exploration and career development activities, provide professional development, provide the skills necessary to pursue careers in high-skill, high-wage, in-demand occupations, support integration of academic skills into the CTE programs of study, support integration of studies, programs of study, and evaluate Perkins-funded programs, including a local needs assessment. And I ran through those quickly, but these are typically what we discuss every year. And at this time, if you have questions or if the public, we take those questions or information to help us as we get ready to put this application together.
And just for the record, Ginger McKay is our Director of Federal Programs and responsible for procuring our grants to fulfill all of these title departments. So we'll open up the floor for any questions from the audience, and then we'll defer to the board members to see if there's any questions here with the board as well. Anyone from the audience for Ms. McKay? Ms. Guy, I'll turn it back to you. Any board members?
Any questions from the board members?
I have one. Since we have such an overwhelming response tonight, I believe you've sent out an email blast or someone has asking for this same kind of comment. Have you received any or many responses?
I've received about 10.
Okay.
But it's gone out to lots.
You can subtract mine because I just was being nosy to see what was in it. But,
well, I won't know which one it is because it doesn't tell me names.
It's not hard to tell.
Okay.
Who will consider those comments and how will they be used on the serious side?
Okay. So when we do our program evaluation, which will be coming up this month, when we have to evaluate all the programs, we bring in information from this particular time for public input. We also bring in information from other different levels, whether it's district principals or teachers or CTE, just a wide array of stakeholders is what they would call it.
Good.
And so then from there, then we try to develop it.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Anybody else? Questions? Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. So each one has their own specific one. Like Title I is the federal government determines it based on census. And then what we have to do is just look at each of the schools that meet the Title I that are identified, which are 40% above in the elementary, over 75% for secondary. And then that's given per pupil on the socioeconomic. So one school like Harlem won't get exactly the same amount as like Pumphrey because certain students count. Like 4-year-olds do not count anywhere because in the formulas they're not considered to be of that age yet. And so at 5. And so then each school looks at to see their amounts. A lot of them use it as personnel. Our campus instructional specialists, or what we call our teaching and learning coaches, are a lot in elementary. Now, in migrant, the federal government actually bases their funding a little bit differently, and it's based on numbers of our migrants that we had identified in the district 2 years ago. And so it kind of changes. And honestly, because you're new to the board, years ago, probably 15, we had 1,500 students identified. But things have changed with how to help make sure that they're getting schooled or they're staying in places. And so we're down to 221 in our district. And they're identified for a 3-year period. They have to reapply at that. Title II is based on how many students we have in each of our different grade levels. Title III is based on our LEP, and the federal government gives us sort of they give us like $400,000 for the entire district for us to be able to supplement. And Title IV is similar. I would also add, because it does not have this in here, is we also are required to extend our services out to our private schools. And so we have 5 of them that actually participate with us, whether they're in district or out. They have to meet certain criteria as well. So we have it's a wide array of things.
Ms. McKay, you passed the test.
Okay. Hopefully. Thank you. Y'all have a good evening.
That's a good question. Good questions. Perfect. Anything else? All right. Thank you, Ms. McKay. And we will move on to citizens participation. And we do have one person signed up.
Ms. Jackson, could you ensure that the microphone's working?
Okay. Citizens participation is the time that the board will hear public concerns or public comments from those who have properly signed up to address the board. At regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comment regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. At all other board meetings, public comment shall be limited to open session items on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Each speaker is reminded that he or she is limited in his or her presentation to a maximum of 3 minutes. and that he or she should respect confidentiality concerns and refrain from attacking the personal character of any individual student, staff member, or board member in addressing concerns or comments. Pursuant to state law and board policy BE legal, the board cannot consider or take action on concerns at this meeting unless they pertain to an item on the posted agenda for this meeting. Any deliberation or decision on an item that is not posted for consideration at this meeting shall be limited to a proposal to place the subject on the agenda of a future meeting. Okay, and we have Mr. Minson up here and
But
Mrs.
before I start,
Barat.
I asked to be signed up twice so I could have 2 3-minute sessions. Because
Okay.
last time I ran out of time, so Noemi asked me to do that, so.
You're awarded one, but it's her discretion to allow you to go over a little bit if you wish.
All right, I have
Okay.
1 page.
Okay,
Ready?
thank you.
You ready for the time? All right. Madam President, board members, and Dr. O'Brien, I would like to thank you for the continued support for the Goose Creek Special Olympics program and ask for your help in ensuring it continues to grow and flourish. Last Thursday, the annual Goose Creek Special Olympics sports banquet was held at the Sterling High School cafeteria. Over 320 athletes, coaches, family, and friends attended. That was over 100 athletes were there. Thank you for the representatives from the Goose Creek Special Education Administration who attended. Several months ago, the Goose Creek Special Education Administration presented to the board an overview of this program. I confirm their findings in that the Goose Creek Special Olympics program is the finest, most comprehensive program in the area with over 12 different sports offered. This coaching staff is the finest with over 160 years of experience in the district with this program. It is recognized as an example of how to run a successful athletic program for students with intellectual disabilities. The Special Olympic program and the supporting coaching staff are in parity with the athletic programs offered to students without intellectual disabilities. Thank you. This is a huge help to families with children who have intellectual disabilities. We are now in a need of your help to ensure the program continues to thrive. As you know, the district repurposed the permanent facilities of the Special Olympic program over 10 years ago, which was located at the old Alamo Elementary School. These facilities included a gym, a specialized locker room, and specialized bathrooms for our students, storage for equipment, and several outdoor practice fields for soccer and softball. The district offered a temporary facility at Stephen F. Austin with used portable buildings and an old elementary gym. This was only to be temporary until a new facility could be built, as communicated by the district in a meeting held with parents and reported in the Baytown Sun. Now, over 3 bonds later and 10 years later, there's still no concrete plan to replace the permanent facilities. Unfortunately, although the hard work of Dr. Price, the portable buildings are falling apart, and the air conditioner in the gym has not worked properly for most of the year. During the same period, athletic facilities, last 10 years, athletic facilities were significantly, can I continue?
You may continue.
Were significantly expanded for students without intellectual disabilities, including most recently the construction of the field house at Stallworth Stadium. As past involvement and priorities of the Goose Creek Athletics Department do not champion facilities for Special Olympic students or athletes, I would ask that the board direct the district to not invest in any athletic facilities or improvements until there is a parity of athletic facilities for students with intellectual disabilities. I use the word parity, as this is the intent of the law as found in the American Disability Act, Section 504, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, as we heard tonight, IDEAs, Title II and Title IX. We should not allow any student to have second or third class athletic facilities while others are provided first class facilities, especially since the district committed to remedy this over 10 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minson.
Thank you.
All right, now we are on to number 9, approval of minutes from the last board meeting.
I move to approve the minutes from the last board meeting.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Campisi, a second by Mrs. Barat-Timms. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. We have 6 in favor. Motion passes.
Next up, we do have our superintendent's report. This evening, we'll have 2 of them. We'll start off with our spring athletic update. You may have noticed a few coaches in the house. I don't know if they'll be joining the presentation immediately or shortly thereafter. We're missing a coach.
When we talk about your particular sport, coaches that are in the house, if y'all would please bring your players on this side. Okay. All right. Okay. Good evening, President Guy, Dr. O'Brien, and all board members. We're honored to be here today to present our annual spring update for athletics. Today, we're pointing out teams, individuals, and coaching staffs that have qualified for the regional tournaments, meets, and beyond. I want to start off with the GCM girls, who are coached by Titus Stanberry. Okay.
GCM girls, come on up. Stand over here by this wall here.
I didn't see Titus here. I think he had a prior engagement. I don't think they're here yet. I don't think they're here.
Okay, all the girls are here.
We're going to start off with the GCM girls track. They're coached by Titus Stanberry. They had a very good showing in the 17-5A district meet and had 1 qualifier advance to the regional meet in the triple jump. That would be Camille Gladney. She ended up placing 6th overall in the regional meet and became very close to continue her meet career just by a few inches. So we want to just say congratulations to Camille Gladney.
Let's give her a round.
So next we want to talk about the Lee Gander lady track team. There you go.
It looks like a Vipe picture up on the screen. It looks like a Vogue picture here in the room.
Okay. So the Lady Ganders are coached by Crystal Aguero and Kirsten Dutton. The Lee girls track team created a history of their own in their own respect. The Lady Ganders earned a third place finish in the 17.5A track meet, and this hadn't been done in 25 years. Wow. Some top district finishers include district champion shot put Summer Grevenberg, district champion Jalila Williams in the 100 and 200. And we had Autumn Grevenberg with a third place finish in discus. So if you look up to the board, we have Harmony Brooks up top. And if I say a name wrong, please correct me, who ran the 4x1. Shania Gordon ran the 4x1. Jalila Williams, 4x1, 100 and 200. Heaven Perkins, who had 4x1, long jump, and high jump. And I know Miss Perkins probably does not want me to bring this up today, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. She was inches away from going to state. So I'm very proud of the work they've accomplished this year, and congratulations to the Lady Ganders. Thank you.
Go Ganders.
So next we have the Ross S. Sterling track team with Ron McDowell and Kelly Walker. My orange bag, Greg, in the back. No bag.
Seems weird. Here we go, guys. Look at me first, then you're looking at. Okay, now smile, smile, smile. Yep, please. All right.
I want you up here. Okay, so we're gonna, as they take pictures, we're gonna keep talking. So, what can we say about Sterling? So, what do we say about Sterling? You know, Sterling Track has had just another great showing as you look on the board on the regional finalists. Makira Doucette in the 4x2. Nevaeh Fontenot running the 4x2. Elena Lede, 4x2. Emily Attell with 1,600 and 3,200. And I know she is a freshman making the region. That's pretty good. It's a very good accomplishment. Sunny Owens is a 4x2. And Sydney Owens, who's running the 4x2. Do we have any boys track? Okay, on the boys side, we have Brennan Allen, who ran the 4x4. Gavin Cortez, 4x4, and the 800. I believe Gavin's best event is the 800, if I'm not mistaken. He's pretty good runner, and I know he's young too. 10th grader, I believe. Irad Mixon with 4x4 and the 400. Jeremiah Reed, 4x400. And John Smith, who ran the 4x400. If you guys can stay. So I'm going to get off script a little bit and briefly present this to Coach McDowell, who will be retiring at the end of the year. You can stand right there, brother. To put it simple, Coach McDowell loves track. Like all good coaches, he always has stood up for his program and demanded the best from his students. His most recent accomplishment came in 2022 track season, where he coached Cameron Chin into bringing home the state championship in the 400 meter. So we're going to present this to Coach McDowell. It says, for your 28 years of dedication and commitment to the athletes you've coached and your 17 years of service to Goose Creek, your actions have inspired others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more. Never forget the difference you've made. Okay, now y'all are done. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Coach McDowell.
Next, I want to bring up Sterling Tennis. Coach Trimmel is here. I'm gonna go ahead and talk. I don't think any of his tennis players are here. Oh, he's got a couple. Okay. That's all right. So this one is probably the easiest one. I mean, this guy. I mean, what can you say? He's in the regional tournament every year. So Sterling Tennis just continues to win. And on the board, the following individuals qualified for the regional tournament and will be competing on Wednesday and Thursday in College Station this week. Okay, so we have Brandon Webb with boys doubles, Roland Mendez, boys doubles, Raul Torres, boys doubles, Blaine Delaverne, boys doubles, Zamara Barahona, girls doubles, Bella Lee, girls doubles, Caitlin Orozco, girls singles, Maddie Dotson, girls singles, Natalie De La Cruz, mixed doubles, Micah Ebo, mixed doubles. So as you can see, the Sterling Tennis program is still going strong and hard, and that just comes to the hard work and dedication of not only the athletes, but of the head coach, John Trimmel, who continues to make this his second home, being in the regional tournament every year. Thank you.
Congratulations, Coach Trimmel.
Next, we have Sterling Golf. And I'm going to get her name right so I don't get in trouble. The coach is Coach Shane Holbrook, and we have Maya Patel.
You can go on up.
So,
Ms. Patel.
Come on, Miss Patel. You better let Miss Patel, because she'll call me on the phone and talk to me for a long time.
I think he just called you out.
Well, Maya Patel, I know from having conversations with her mom, is also very good in dancing and in karate. What karate is that? Huh? Space City Martial Arts. So I know just from conversations that I had with her mother, but also she's also a talented golfer. She finished 5th in district, which qualifies her for the region. But the significance of Miss Maya is we haven't had one there since 2001. And for her to go and play at Margaritaville in Conroe, it's been an awesome experience for her and Coach Holbrook, and we're just looking for bigger and better things next year. Maya Patel, thank you.
Congratulations.
Good job, Maya. You got your name right. Okay, so Coach, we could have the soccer players on this side. They can line up. Okay, so this is a little bit different for us in our normal routine, but we're going to get it done right, okay?
Samir, she must get it from her mom.
Oh, there's a lot of girls.
Where's Marisol? There she is. I was wondering where you were at. Parents, you can step up.
All right, ladies, you got to stay there. So it's time to move to soccer. The Goose Creek Memorial Lady Patriots are led by Coach Roman Weezar. So Coach Weezar, his overall coaching experience has been 20 years. He's been coaching at GCM for 12. He is a 5-time District Coach of the Year, 3-time at GCM. He's a 1-time Region Coach of the Year, a 1-time Regional Semifinalist, 2-time District Champion, and 9 out of 12 years he's had playoff appearances. His record versus Baytown Schools is 29-1-2. The Lady Patriots made history this year, getting to round 4 regional tournament. Making it to the regional tournament is not an easy thing to do in any sport. It takes a lot more than talent to win big games in Region 3. I'm very proud of what the coaching staff and this team accomplished this year. Now I want to give it over to Coach Weezar so he can recap the season and introduce this great team.
Thank you. First, before we get started, I'd like to thank Coach Martinez and Coach Smith for recognizing our program this evening. I'd also like to thank the school board and administration for having us here as well. Lastly, I'd like to thank Ms. Holland, Coach Ragsdale, my assistant coaches, Coach LeChuga, Coach Ridley, my booster club, my soccer parents, and most importantly, my players. Before getting into our season, what made it so special this year, I'd first like to present to you guys my team. Starting with senior Layla Anaya. She was goalkeeper of the year. She's back-to-back goalkeeper of the year. She's a second-team All-State goalkeeper, and she was selected to the second-team All-Vipe Houston. Then I have freshman Maudis Reyes, who was the district newcomer of the year, second-team All-Region, and academic All-District. Sophomore Angel Reyes, she was selected first-team All-District. Junior Sofia Pacheco, second-team All-District. Sophomore Pamela Toledo, All-District Honorable Mention. Sophomore Belen Santos, All-District Honorable Mention and Academic All-District. Sophomore Vanessa Flores, All-District Honorable Mention. Junior Delilah Rodriguez. Junior Patricia Torres, he was selected as co-district MVP, second-team All-Region and first-team All-Vipe Houston. Senior Luna Lerma, co-district co-utility player of the year and academic all-district. Junior Ani Toledo was a first-team all-district, first-team all-region, and academic all-district. Senior Alondra Valladares was the first-team all-district and academic all-district. Junior Isabella Lopez, second-team all-district and academic all-district. Sophomore Allison Figueroa, second-team All-District. Sophomore Giselle Santos, All-District Honorable Mention. Junior Sage West, All-District Honorable Mention. Junior Solali Vences, and I'd also like to introduce my junior managers, Yesenia Zepeda and Kim Kopp. These young ladies standing before you are very deserving of all the recognition that they've received individually and collectively as a group. Prior to tonight, Coach Martinez had reached out to us and kind of asked us tonight to present to you guys kind of a recap of what our season was like for this 2024 season and making history. So let's kind of go back to 2023 season with a heartbreaking loss in the last 8 minutes of the first round of the playoffs against a talented Friendswood team in which I had 9 seniors on the roster. 6 of them were starters, all right? And so out of 11, 6 were moving on to the next phase of their life. So naturally the narrative that was going to be was that we weren't going to be as good as we were last year. And if any years the Baytown schools and area schools would take advantage of us, this would be the year. So last May, I held a team meeting in our locker room. I addressed the returners. about what the narrative was going to be for this team moving forward. I'm a firm believer in it's painted in our locker room, tradition never graduates. I told them we were going to prove the doubters wrong, but it started with what we did now, not in December. We're not going to try to win games in December, we're going to try to win now. What you may not also know, looking in front of you, is this is also the GCM girls soccer team. These girls are committed, hardworking, and mentally tough. So fast forward to our season, I had purposely scheduled some of the top teams in our area to play. We had an up and down preseason, but I kept telling them this is a marathon, not a sprint. So we will be okay, stay the course. After the first round of district, we were in the mix for a playoff spot, but once the second half of district started, we didn't lose a game. We were the only team to not lose a game and the only team to beat P&G, who were eventual district champions and also made it to the regional semifinals. From there, our magical season continued. This program had never been past the second round of the playoffs, but we shattered that and made it to the regional semifinals versus the reigning Region 3 state semifinals, Georgetown. Going to that game all over social media, we were just a team happy to be there. Nothing was expected of us, and we were predicted to lose 6-0. What people failed to realize, that wasn't who we were. Of the 66 teams in our region, we were one of 4 still standing. One of the other teams still standing we had already beaten. It was a tremendous game. However, we ended up losing 2-1 in the last 10 minutes of the game. As a coach, I couldn't be more prouder of this group. I firmly believe what made this team so special and rewrote this program's history was that they played for each other and they were resilient in the face of adversity. Thank you.
All right. And we're going to move on now. Here's a picture of the young ladies there. Great picture. And now we got to move on to the boys. Hey, you still got school tomorrow. Thank you, guys. No.
Coach Weezon, you smile sometimes, right?
More than he does.
Sometimes you smile. This guy.
This man smiles. I just have to.
No, tall guys don't go in the front row.
Hey, Lee, I was impressed with them winning soccer, but I was more just as impressed with their academic achievements. All of them were highly achieved academic, and I liked that. That was good.
That's always a good thing. You always play for so long.
Right. That's that Dennis Rodman hairstyle they got right there, man. Dennis Rodman hairstyle.
That's fair. That's a good one. All right, boys, you got to stay up there for a while. Okay. Obviously, we're moving to boys soccer. The Goose Creek soccer team is led by Coach William Freeman right here. If you look to the board, yeah, he's got 15 years in coaching. He's 11 years in coaching at GCM. He's a 4-time district champion. He's a 3-time regional tournament appearance. He has 1 region championship, 1 state appearance, 4-time district coach of the year, 2-time region coach of the year, and 10 out of 11 playoff appearances, 16 playoff wins. He has a 21-3-7 combined record versus Baytown schools. The GCM Patriots made their own history by winning the Region 3 championship and punching their ticket to Georgetown, Texas, where they competed for a state championship. It was great to see the city of Baytown and the students show up and support their team. Now, I would like the coach that made this all possible to give us some insight and introduce us to this fantastic team. Coach Freeman.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the board members for recognizing our program this evening. I'd also like to thank Coach Martinez, Coach Smith, Coach Ragsdale, and Ms. Holland for their support. I also want to thank our coaches, parents, and then the players with their continued dedication and commitment to our growth. I'd first like to introduce you to our players. Captain Raymond Diaz, 17-5A First Team All-District, Academic All-District, TASCO First Team All-Region, TASCO All-State Tournament Team. Maximiliano Gonzalez, 17-5A Second Team All-District, John Abarca, Academic All-District, Khaled Correa, Matthew Cobb, Academic All-District, Christian Velasco, 17-5A Second Team All-District and Academic All-District, Alex Rodriguez, 17-5A Honorable Mention and Academic All-District, Sri Hari Sudhiran, Isaac Paramo, 17-5A First Team All-District, TASCO Second Team All-Region, Luis Gonzalez, 17-5A First Team All-District, Academic All-District, Jonathan Schaefer, 17-5A Second Team All-District, Academic All-District, TASCO All-State Tournament Team, Bryant Dofor, Academic All-District, Daniel Rodriguez, 17-5A First Team All-District, Academic All-District, Hector Limas, Academic All-District, Carlos Gonzalez, 17-5A District MVP, TASCO First Team All-State, Oliver Reyes, 17-5A District Defensive Player of the Year, TASCO First Team All-Region, Jason Contreras, 17-5A Second Team All-District, Academic All-District, Jose Vasquez, 17-5A Honorable Mention, Juan Martinez, 17-5A First Team All-District, Aaron Hogner, 17-5A Honorable Mention, Academic All-District, Alec Barbosa, Academic All-District, and our manager, Eric Valencia, and Coach Andrew Schuneman and Coach Julio Hernandez. After a disappointing second-round exit last year and graduating 12 seniors, there was a lot of unanswered questions for this season. Strong results in a preseason and winning the district title with an undefeated record, there was some promise moving into playoffs. Unfortunately, we did not get to play a single playoff game at home, but the sport of GCM soccer is strong, always having a great turnout no matter where the game is located. Santa Fe proved to be an athletic team, but the boys were the better side, winning 4-2. The next round allowed the boys to avenge last year's playoff loss with a convincing 3-1 win over Fulshire. Going down a goal in the first half to Galena Park in the third round allowed the boys to show their true grit and determination, finishing 2-1. At the regional tournament, GCM would face two of the toughest teams of the season, but they made easy work of Waco University, winning 3-1 in the regional semifinals. Magnolia West took the lead into halftime of the regional finals, and with less than 7 minutes and our season being over, a free kick with 25 yards out tied the game. The opening kickoff to start the second half of overtime would decide the game. 11 consecutive passes before the ball was slipped into the corner for the game winner to win 2-1 in overtime. The state semifinals was new territory for us all, so we kept everything as consistent as possible. The scoreline of 0-3 was deceiving at the game, as the game was much closer. I could not have asked for any more from the players, coaching staff, and support. Their hard work and character really paid off this year. Go Patriots.
You guys, a picture up there with their region trophy, their district trophy, and state semifinal trophy. So as we look at this picture on the board, as you can see, athletics plays a major role in campus morale and culture. It can bring a campus and community closer together. The boys of GCM soccer will forever remember this season, and it will be something they will talk about for many years to come. From the send-off in the hallway of GCM to the final kick of the season. None of this is possible without the entire school district being invested in athletics. Before we end the presentation tonight, we do have something for the board, but I want to be sure and thank several individuals that make this all possible. Dr. O'Brien, Dr. Price, Kathy Holland, Rick Walterscheid of Transportation, and Patricia Ducote, Abel Narvaez from Grounds, Michael Rasmussen from Maintenance, and my friend Susan Boucher, who gets mad at me every time for not having a school dude in. I need to thank them as well. So if the board members could please rise up. Please stand up. This, in our definition of athletics, this says it all. Right here to your left. This is a picture of Coach Freeman with one of his players, his MVP, with his father on signing day. This is what its picture says it all. And we're here to say thank you. And the way they were crowned that night for their medals, we're going to do the same thing for you guys for doing that for us. So thank you very much. So again, thank you, Dr. O'Brien. Thank you, players, for giving us the pretty much season that we're going to remember for a while ourselves. Good luck to all of you. Good luck to everything you do. And just remember, this is only the first step. All right? Thank you.
I think we need to thank the parents and the families for traveling and running after them.
Do we have any parents here tonight? Please stand up. Please stand up. All the parents and family members, please stand. Stand up. Stand up. Stand. All family members, siblings, parents, aunts and uncles, everyone stand.
Thank y'all and congratulations, guys. That's huge.
Great job, guys. Proud of y'all.
Congratulations.
Appreciate you guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
Proud of you. Proud of you. Yes, sir. Great job, guys. All right. This is not a dig on any of the executive council members, but that may have been the best superintendent report ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can pass the trophy. Miss Jackson. Miss Jackson, do you have the trophy? Jackson. Susan Jackson, do you have the trophy? Yeah, pass it. Pass it over.
Yeah.
All right. Continuing in the spirit of celebration, our next superintendent's report is a benefits update. Come on down, Ms. Meyer.
All right, we are honored to follow that presentation with some less emotional information, but hopefully some good information as well as we're working out our benefits plan. So Stephanie Myers, our Director of Benefits, is going to provide the majority of this presentation, but I do want to start us off and go over a few items. We're going to talk about just our annual enrollment procedures and dates, also our medical plan changes, and just the change in how we're doing how our rates and some options for the employees. We're also going to talk about some of our non-medical insurance offerings, as well as updates with the clinic that we have, and then we'll also talk a little bit about temporary disability leave and some options and considerations on that item as well. So that's the agenda that we have for you. Real quick, these are the dates that we have for our annual enrollment. Over the last 2 weeks in April, Ms. Myers and her team presented to various campuses and departments, sharing some of the insurance benefits and the new plan and some of the changes. Enrollment opened on May 1st, and that's through the month of May for the most part. And then we also have on-site enrollment spread throughout various campuses and facilities, as you can see here, and also the schedules on the right. So this is just the plan for enrollment. Ms. Myers is going to get into the weeds and talk about our medical plan changes at this time.
All right, so good afternoon, or good evening. So on our medical plan, some of this information we've already followed up before, so it's just a recap. That for our 3 medical plans, we actually are looking at changing for the next school year, going to a short plan year, which would be September through December, in efforts to align our plan year with a calendar year for most of the industry standards, and then also for our tax years. There are some changes to some of our coverage on all 3 of our medical plans. One of them is that we were removing the out-of-network coverage for emergencies. We're removing out-of-network coverage for all 3 plans. We will still keep it for emergency purposes. And then for our non-emergency care that is taking place at our emergency rooms, those will also be removed from coverage because the services for an emergency room should be used for emergency services only. And so this has kind of been an ongoing topic and discussion for many years. So that will be something that is actually part of the out-of-network benefits that is being removed for this next school year. We're also having some changes to our specialty drugs, and we're adding in diabetes management program. Our 90-day prescription coverage will be moved over to mail order. That is actually more cost-effective for our employees. And then due to the coverage changes with the out-of-network coverage, we are adding unlimited access to next-level urgent care facilities, not just the one here in town, but all next-level urgent care facilities for our employees to utilize those for all urgent care needs, primary care needs, whatever it may be, instead of using the emergency room facilities. So on all 3 of our medical plans, we will have a reduced deductible for September through December because we are using a short plan year and then moving over to a calendar year starting January 1. And so on the high deductible plan, the reduced deductibles you see here is $1,200 for an individual, $2,400 for a family. And then the co-insurance amount has changed from 20 to 30%. There is a $35 copay for the next level urgent care. And the other 2 plans, basically similar structure, reduced deductibles. Copays have gone up by $5 on the standard and enhanced level plan. They were $35 and $70. Now it is $40 and $75. And then the co-insurance has changed to all 3 plans to be 30%. On the medical rates, yes.
So the deductibles, et cetera, are these configured for just the short year plan?
Yes.
Down based on what it would have been for 12 months, right?
Yes.
So we're not really having to start all over again January 1.
Right.
Okay. Are we having a company change or just a calendar year change in January?
So just a calendar change.
But everybody will have to go through open enrollment again.
Yes.
So we'll start that October, November?
Yes, sir. October.
Okay. Just want to know the answer to the questions that are coming.
Yes. And we're not looking to make any changes to company right now. One of the things that I have discussed with our employees and just across the district is that we need to be stable on a plan and at least have 24 months of claims data so that we get ready to go out for another plan. We'll have that data to help with that.
On the next level urgent care, are we in a contract with them? Or is our benefit provider, how are they involved in this?
So it's a direct contract that was added to the medical plan. So it actually was written into the medical plan to allow our employees that are on our plan and also their dependents to be able to use all next level urgent care facilities.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, so on the medical rates, we wanted to make sure that we were able to adjust and not go up too high on the increases. Some of the things that we were looking at was possibly high increases due to a lot of the out-of-network coverage and then also the emergency room visits that were for non-emergency things. And so with that, we decided to make the mitigating strategies and be able to make the changes within the plan and then keep our costs down low as far as the increases. So on each one of the plans, we have the 3 medical plans, the high deductible, the standard, and also the enhanced level plan. For the tiers is the only increase that you will see on the medical plans. So for employee only on all 3 plans, we went up by $20 a month, which is $10 a paycheck. For employee and spouse, it went up $40 a month, which is $20 a paycheck. Employee and children went up by $30 a month, which is $15 per paycheck. And then employee and family went up by $50 a month, which is $25 a paycheck. One of the other features that are added to the medical plan is Recuro, which is telemedicine health. It provides unlimited virtual appointments for all of the employees that are on the plan and also their dependents in the household, regardless of whether they're on the plan, for a $0 copay, and provides them with 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service. So we wanted to make sure that we're capturing this information so employees don't think that we're taking something away from them by not being able to use the urgent cares or standalone emergency rooms, that they also have coverage within their medical plan that is actually already a $0 copay and provides that level of coverage that they need. On all of our voluntary plans, I worked really hard this year to actually change and simplify all of our benefits. And so we removed the dual option coverages for all of our voluntary benefits, the dental, the hospital indemnity, the cancer plan, critical illness, and accident plan. They all had high-low options, and it took a lot of effort for employees to try to figure out which plan worked best for them and their family. So should I go with this level of coverage or that level of coverage? And so we made a change to all of our plans and just are offering one plan option for each one. So we have one plan for dental, either you want it or you don't. You have accident, either you want the coverage or you don't. Now, I did go with a middle level plan at the lower rates for each one of those options. Our Cigna, our dental plan, and our accident plan, we also are doing changes of providers. So we moved over to Cigna. And then all of the other benefits, except for vision, disability, and FSA, HSA, those are staying with the same current providers. All of the other benefits actually moved over to Chubb. So that's another provider for our basic life coverage, which also created a reduction in cost to the district by moving it over to the Chubb plan. And then we also had the voluntary life, AD&D, those rates are going to stay the same as our current provider. And then the hospital indemnity plan, along with our cancer plan and critical illness plan, offer additional levels of coverage at a lower cost.
I have a quick question. Like on the vision and the dental, just because I feel like those are the most common ones that people get. Did you find that most people were taking the lower plans? Is that why you went with those, or?
So it was actually an even split. It's about 50-50. So we didn't take away the lower plan. We went with the middle level plan to combine the two.
Okay.
So the plan we have now is right in between the low plan and the high plan. It just has a lower rate similar to the low plan.
Gotcha.
But it does have actually a higher level of coverage on the, like for the dental, it's a $1,250 max, and on the low plan, it was a $750.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a question. Did we ever look into the possibility of joining up with different districts about health plans in order to get more numbers to lower your health costs? Is because some of these numbers are way out there. Did we ever look into that, like joining like 8 or 10 districts and we all go under the same plan?
Yes.
And maybe get a lower cost?
Mm-hmm. So insurance in general is high across the nation. The plan that we're on now, it is a consortium or a group of other school districts that are part of that plan. So that's the UBC plan that we're currently on. The plan that we had before UBC was 90 Degree, also the same structure and setup, that it had multiple school districts who were on that plan to try to lower the cost.
I was just wondering, I know a few years back I asked that question, and I was just wondering, did we ever go to that philosophy of trying to find out how many districts we could get that were under the same plan, if it's Aetna, if it's Cigna, whatever, in order to lower the cost of health, for all the employees. And that's why I'm asking this question.
We have.
Yes, sir.
It was the PowerPoint she showed us once before that had, 40 school districts all on the page underneath UBC. So it's actually something we have gone to. I think you discussed it several years ago, and it's something we've done just within the last few years, UBC being now the distinction, Mr. Sampson, you talk about this, not me, is that we're in a consortium which it does exactly what you're asking for. It drives the cost down based upon volume. However, we don't pay some other school districts, long-term disability, and they don't pay ours. Right. So they still segregate the costs associated, and it can drive ours. Even though we're part of a consortium, if we have high cost, it can drive our portion of that consortium up a little bit.
Well, I know we don't pay another district's medical, all of this, but if you got 3,000 employees, now you look and you got 40,000 employees because you mix everybody together and you're going under one bucket. And now if everybody is going and the insurance company look at, okay, we can get 40,000 employees under the same plan, even though they're different districts, everybody's still paying their portion of what they want to do. But the benefits of it, this is just something I brought up, like I said, a few years back, that it seemed like they would give a better rate overall if you got, 40,000 employees compared to 3,000 employees, But that's my question. My question was basically, did we ever look into that?
Yes, sir, we did.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we did. And actually, when you're looking at the numbers and then the volume, you also have to look at the claims. And so while you may have more volume of employees combined, if you have higher claims for heart attack, strokes, those kind of things, then those push your numbers a lot higher. So it's similar to what TRS has done over many, many years and combined all of their efforts in getting more school districts to be a part of TRS, but then you have more lives on the plan, but then you have claims that are higher. So that's what continues to push the cost up on the medical insurance plans.
Thought I'd ask again.
No, it's always a good question. Thank you. One of the other changes is because we are moving over our life insurance to Chubb, we are also moving over our EAP program, which is the Employee Assistance Program. It's going to move over to Chubb. It's the same level of coverage with the same company that we had before with Lincoln. So it's still Guided Resources and CompPsych. Still offers a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week access for emotional support. It's doing what it wants to do. Legal guidance, and then also work-life balance. The only difference on this plan is it has now added 6 sessions instead of 5. It was 5 with the previous provider, so now you have 6 sessions per employee, per problem, per dependent that they are able to use for that service. All right, so just an update on our clinic with some of the things that we've looked at and just the mitigating strategies for budget reduction. I know y'all have heard that term more than enough. Is we are looking at one point we actually had our clinic that we were operating 3 days a week, and we were operating at limited services. We are possibly looking at clinic options and reducing accessibility for our employees so that we can be able to function within the budget. We did bump up our services to 5 days a week, and we are looking at possibly reducing it to, by either 1 day or 2 days a week to provide still the same level of coverage for our employees, but be able to work within our budget of what we have available. We did change the hours for the clinic, 8:30 to 4:30, to provide additional level of coverage and services for those earlier morning hours. We were operating 10 to 6 p.m., and then we're still going to be able to offer the same level of services for primary care, acute illness care, chronic condition, also workers' comp and DOT physicals.
Okay, for the last item, we want to talk a little bit about temporary disability leave. I do want to commend Ms. Myers. She's worked hard with we have a committee in place that's looked at various options. I know she has looked at various options to make sure we try to keep our rates low. When we first started this process, we were concerned that any type of raise would be swallowed up by increased insurance costs. But I'll tell you that the rate increase right now is very minimal compared to what we're expecting. I know that the TRS rates are expected to go up quite a bit for those on that plan. So we've worked hard to try to keep the costs down. One consideration that we want to bring up, we offer different types of leave for employees. We have sick leave, we have personal leave. For those who qualify, we have FMLA. And so there's various types of leaves that are offered. There's one type of leave called temporary disability leave, and it's tied to the Texas Education Code listed here. And the intent was for full-time educators with certification to qualify for TDL. Several years back, Goose Creek made a change to offer it to all employees. Very few, if any, districts do this at this time. And so we wanted to just bring up, I don't know why this thing keeps switching. We wanted to bring up just kind of what that would look like if we were to keep what we have versus make a change. In consultation with our attorney, she made this point that she doesn't know of any other district that offers it to all employees. And the intent of this is really for workforce stability, that our full-time educators with certification are primarily the core of our schools, and so it was to offer an extra benefit for extenuating circumstances. In some cases, some districts will offer paraprofessionals with certification, TDL. Other districts strictly adhere to how the TEC is written, where it's just full-time Chapter 21 educators with certification. And so if we were to make an adjustment and apply it as it's written, or possibly with paraprofessionals with certification, there would be some cost savings involved in that. And so we just wanted to bring it for your consideration. If we were to move forward with it, it would be an action item. The cost savings, I know with our preliminary review, looked like around either $120,000 to about $180,000, around that ballpark. And so if the board wanted to move forward with looking at that, then we would bring that in the future for an action item. So I wanted to just share that possibility that we're considering. Okay, so that's all that we have. Any questions that we haven't already addressed, we'll be glad to do that at this time. I think so. If once we get closer to January, and whenever we do that new enrollment, I think that we can go ahead and provide what that would look like.
I know you've had all your meetings and open enrollments going on now. How has it been received? How have the changes been received?
So for the most part, all of the changes have been received very well. There were some concerns with the out-of-network coverage for the emergency rooms and the non-emergency care that are being received. But once we explained how the plan was working along with the Recuro, which is the telemedicine health, and then also the added feature for next level urgent care, our employees have been very receptive.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Is there anything additional that you would like to see on the next benefits update? I know we're going to look at whatever the new plans and what that will look like for October. Is there something additional you would like to see? Okay. You'll update us and let us know. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Okay, thank y'all. Now we are on to number 11, action items. So, Dr. O'Brien, the consideration of consent agenda?
Yes. We have action item 11A, 1, donation from ExxonMobil. A, Science Department. B, Gandinier program at Robert E. Lee High School. And the number 2, donation from Goose Creek CISD Education Foundation, the beautiful check that was handed to us earlier this evening. Number 3, District of Innovation, DOI renewal plan. Number 4, tax refunds. Those are the consent agenda items up for the board's consideration this evening.
Is there anything that needs to be pulled?
I'm lost on that. What is it about the science department?
The donation?
That's
the donation from Exxon, yes, sir.
Oh, that just fell under, okay. I see what you
Anything that needs to be pulled for consideration? Okay.
It's here.
Entertain a
I move
motion.
to approve the consent agenda. Second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Campisi and a second by Mr. Clem. Any questions? All in favor, raise your hand. Of 6-4, 0 against, motion passes. And then the report on the continuing education credit for the board. Hold on, I've lost my place on here.
I believe that's you, Ms. Guy.
Yes. Oh, here we go. Okay, and I believe I just read these out.
No particular order, yes.
Just the total? Okay. So we have Tiffany Guy, 22.5 hours. Howard Sampson, 19.5 hours. Helen Barat-Timms, 18 hours. James Campisi, 29.75 hours. Jesse Martinez, 32.25 hours. Mercedes Renteria, 3 hours. And Richard Clem, 39 hours.
It's not funny.
I'm gonna have to go online and do mine. Some of us work for a living. I can't go to San Antonio like that last meeting we had over there. I couldn't do it. So, just can't go. But I'll go online and do them. It's funny.
Okay.
Next, we have C, future board agenda items, board training, board meetings.
Do we have to approve that? Oh.
You just have to read it into the record.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. Okay. Future board agenda items, board training, and board meetings. Is there anything we need to put on a future agenda?
Well, I got a couple of. One, I'd like to get an update on, I guess, the Special Olympics funds that we promised 10 years ago and see where we're at with that. I think it's time for an update there. I'd also like to get an update on the police department and see where we're at there, public information to cover all the questions and things that keep coming our way. Also, I guess on the next, if we could, on the next agenda, like to look at the Marshals program for the school district and have a discussion for that, an update on, or a presentation on the Marshall program. And if we need 2 people, I'm one, and I think Mr. Campisi's another. If anybody else wants to join that, they can also join in on that.
I think if we're going to look at the Marshall program, I'd like to include the Guardian as well and just have a discussion and presentation.
Right. Okay. And then the final one with the bullying program, an update on that. I know school's coming to an end, but the work is not. So if we can get some presentations on that and updates on that. It seems like ever since they kicked me off of the bullying program and Kim, it kind of like everybody just keeps it dormant. But I would like to get.
No, I would agree with you. The work is still going on.
No,
it's going on the campuses and throughout the district.
Yeah, and that's why I want a presentation to find out where we're at. I mean, so. Yeah, that's all I have for presentations.
Anyone else? June 3rd?
Okay. Excellent. That's one of the 4.
Yeah, we need to have it.
Or 5, if you want to add the Guardian.
And Ms. Garcia will be talking to us probably at the next meeting, giving you dates between now and then on Summer Leadership Institute, if you haven't already. It's okay.
I'm free for 2 of those days, so I'll make that. But I am gonna do some online work there.
Are we
Through
we gonna
TASB.
have our next meeting before school's out?
May 20th is our next
Okay.
meeting.
I think we ought to talk about end of school year and the problems you have at the end of school year on campuses, because every year there's fights and disruptions and everything on campuses, and that's something over the years we've had a problem with every year. So
Really?
yes, sir. So I think we need to discuss that for us, some of the things that the principals and system principals should be looking for and be ready for.
I'm interested in that one.
I have one that I would like to add that we would look at, since the incident with that was outside of our control a few weeks ago with the Potiphar.
Yeah.
I would like us to look at possibly looking at all external organizations that utilize our facilities, and possibly look at some type of training that they need to go through within the district. Let's say it's a PTO group, or like this was a booster club. I don't know myself, so I'm going to ask this question. Maybe have a report on it. Where do they learn about how many students you can have, or how many officers you have to have in an event? What are all the things and steps that you do to reserve a facility? And then, because I think we go through all these trainings, so I think all these clubs or people who are going to be presenting themselves need to go through some type of training within the district. So if I'm just kind of wrap that up of saying, I don't know if that exists. I'm asking a question, or something that we need to put on the agenda to look a little bit further.
Yeah, Dr. Price and Ms. Boucher could probably present on that or provide that information to you.
One other thing, and I brought this up before, I wanted to know, because we kind of died off on our equity committee too. We'd like to have a report on that, if we're going to start back meeting and things like that. So.
Anything else?
I think we pretty much covered it.
Okay.
That's the whole meeting by itself.
Okay.
We can throw the insurance in there.
The next meeting, but at some point.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
So the board will now recess into a closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 072, 073, 074, 075, 076, 082, 083, 084, and 087. No action will be taken while the board is in closed session. We are recessing at 8:31. Okay. We will reconvene back into open session at 9:48.
At this time, I guess I should turn it on. At this time, administration brings to the board for their consideration the approval of all teacher elections and the acceptance of resignations and retirements as presented.
Could you say that another way?
Yes, sir. I can say the administration brings to the board to approve the elections, number F1, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Campisi, a second by Mr. Renteria. Any questions? All in favor, raise your hand. 6-4-0 against, motion passes.
Number 2, accept resignations and retirements as presented.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem, a second by Mr. Campisi. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. 6-4-0 against, motion passes.
And we have a few administrative elections to present to the board for consideration. The first one being an elementary assistant principal, Paola Thibodeau.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem, a second by Mrs. Bratton.
The discussion would be that is an assistant principal at Highlands Elementary.
Thank you.
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor, raise your hand. 6-4-0 against, motion passes.
Next is a list of principals. Elementary principals: B, Lacey Gordon to become the principal at Ashbel Smith Elementary School, as Aaron Clement will become the principal at Alamo through reassignment.
Second.
A motion by Mrs. Barat-Timms, a second by Mr. Renteria. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. 6-4-0 against, motion passes.
Mr. Damon McLemore as principal at Bowie Elementary.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem, a second by Mr. Campisi. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. 6-4-0 against, motion passes.
And Lindsay Slingla as principal at Hopper Elementary.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Renteria, a second by Mr. Campisi. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. 6-4-0 against, motion passes.
We have Elizabeth Chapa as speech language pathologist assistant.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem, a second by Mr. Renteria. Any questions? Discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. 6-4-0 against, motion passes.
Ashley Manano as speech language pathologist.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Renteria, second by Mr. Campisi. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. 6-4-0 against, motion passes.
Consideration of renewal, non-renewal, or termination of employment of instructional personnel contracts as presented.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem, a second by Mr. Renteria. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. 6-4-0 against, motion passes.
Number 5, approve termination of contract teacher Reginald Davis.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Campisi, a second by Mr. Renteria. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. I really wish, it's his decision, but I wish he would have resigned for his career. That's all.
All in favor, raise your hand. 6-4-0 against, motion passes.
And that is all administration has for the board this evening.
We are to the adjournment.
Adjourned by acclamation.
Okay, we adjourn this meeting at 9:52.